Good evening, Patriots. I have a rare treat for you tonight. I've got Matt Raisin, the formulator and CEO of Masterpiece, is a product that has done absolute miracles with my husband, and I feel myself because I've had a few things that I've noticed that I stopped having problems with. But anyway, Masterpiece is a product that I feel really completely passionately about that everybody needs to be on. If there's only one product you can take, it would be Masterpiece, just because of the results my husband's had and myself. But it has been vilified, as y'all know. I've been sharing a lot about this. It's really made me angry, actually, that it's being vilified because it's a product that can really save humanity. And the fact that it's being vilified tells me that they don't want you healthy. Of course, we already knew that, but the extent to which they'll go and the people that have infiltrated are vast. And so to be able to have Matt on to dispel some of these things directly with you, not just me sharing videos he's showing or having Martin on and us talking about it, but actually Matt himself. And then also to give us an update on the testing that they were doing. Remember, they were going to do double blind studies. So I'm just really excited, Matt. I really, really am excited. So we're going to learn a lot.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for providing a platform on the truth. And, Martin, one of the gentlemen that does work with us, I know we're meeting through him. He was a master at discerning truth from myth and fact from fiction. And he's seen through a lot of this stuff. And he was on board with Masterpiece right from the beginning. And, he's been around the block. And so we live in a world where it's now the norm that we are being poisoned, not just in every way, not just the amounts that are scary, but what we've done at Masterpiece, and we're only a year and a half old, is actually do the testing of the levels inside of us. So by doing different human clinical trials, randomized, non-randomized, placebo-controlled, double placebo-controlled, non-placebo-controlled, all variances that not in our corrupt American medical system, which is bought and paid for, but out in India, we publish in their peer-reviewed medical research, which means something out there, actually, because it actually has to have the science that's irrefutable and undeniable and unquestionable that backs it up. So, we have gave me so much to try to unpack on. I guess since I'm most proud of the thing that really distinguished Masterpiece is we knew by how wonderful it wasn't just working for me and my family, but when we knew many months before it opened up, everybody taking it, that this was something that worked in a way that nothing else has before. And I'm sorry, my little device thingy here, I'm going to have to fix it probably. How's that for professional online stuff, right?
Hey, we got past the first technical issue, so this is good.
Yeah, and then they tried to paint me as like, I know what I'm going to do. You guys are going to love this. Here's a first. It's been a first for us, Cynthia, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's okay. We figured it out.
All right. You're going to see the nitty gritty of the studio here. All right. So everyone on my team, we were well abreast at the natural market and everything. And there is a lot of amazing products that are effective and protocols, and they certainly all work better than the mainstream crap that they try to tell us is what matters, simply counting calories and, grams of protein a day and stuff. So I didn't see a lot of these health or natural companies doing any real testing. So they didn't have any backing and they didn't have any credibility in more of the scientific arena. And so when we got the opportunity at the beginning to be the first and still to this day, the only company to actually test the inside the cellular levels of the blood for graphene oxide, for hydrogel, for things like PFOAs and PFOs and, polypropylene, it had never been done before. So we didn't really know if the levels were as bad as what everybody said everywhere, but we didn't know. Right. And what we've learned is that we're not sick. The reason why we're in this world health epidemic is because we've been poisoned. Mm-hmm. And Masterpiece, what is the common familiarity with poisons is that they have a magnetic positive charge. 99% of them. the heavy metals, the microplastics, graphene oxide, certainly ferric oxide, any of those kind of nefariously made things. So when we have the strongest negative magnet, and if we all go back to class for just a moment, we know that when it comes to magnets, because we're just talking about magnets right now, negative and positive attract. And so the strongest negative charged magnet in the for a mineral that's natural in on Earth is natural clinoptilolite. And so we seeked out the best source, which is the same exact source that you know that Martin uses, and the other and guys like Dr. Andrew Kaufman. And so what we do is we take the highest source negative charged mineral and we get it down to its smallest structure before it loses its cage structure. And what we found from observing underneath a high resolution transmission electron microscope is a very strong negative charge that's sub picometer range sometimes. So sometimes it's not just sub nano, it can get into sub pico because we're looking at it at 1,000,000 time magnification.
So you're talking,
and so
tiny,
it can go
tiny.
We are talking about 10 billionths of them would take 10 billionths would make up a meter. You're talking about 30,000 times smaller than a cell. You're talking about something that is, so people talk about the blood-brain barrier and they talk about different sites. If we want to, the poisoning that's upon us, yes, they're fine-tuning the poisons, it's, concoctions and whatnot, but the main problem is that they've made it into nanotechnology is not a bad or good word. It means they've made whatever technology, it can be natural like clinoptilolite, and it's made into the nano or sub or even smaller than nanometer size, which is, you're talking 7,000 times smaller than a red blood cell, which is very much microscopic. So you're talking to a very small size. And what we do with Masterpiece, because this was made for all of us, our kids and our kids' kids, we didn't hold back. Every single time we made a decision, we made it based on what's best for all of us, knowing that this wasn't out there and someone had to go about it with the intentions that our team did every last step of the way. And so we have an enormous amount of the super small clinoptilolite that goes to, we have all these claims from people. We have thousands of claims of people talking about how their dream vividness and their dream state is improved. And that means your third eye's operating good. And
so let's go back to the beginning. What caused you to create this product? What was the brain?
I had seen one product that was a nanometer sized zeolite product, and I had seen it get corrupted, and they started putting a preservative in it and made it and destroyed it from working as good. But before they had changed the formula, me, my wife, all the people we were taking it was starting to dream again. We all was like, oh my gosh, I'm having wild all night dreams and stuff. Okay. And so we started with that formula, and as a total obsession of mine, I live out in God's country. I live very modestly, and don't I know as good as anybody that my health is my wealth and my wealth is my health. And so, didn't matter that we were on property we bought for $1,000. We had our health and we were happy, and I had the time on my hands. And I thought, I got these kids that are 29 years old all the way down to 3, and now I have a little daughter on the way, and she's my first little girl of 5 kids. And so I was older. I was scared to death. I thought, I know all these monotarians and fruitarians and all these walks of life and all these people taking care of themselves. And I was into the quantum bioresonance, you name it. I've colloidal silver. Anything you can name, CDS, the works. And I seen everybody not being able to maintain their health quality. So I thought, man, something's missing. And I thought,
that's not working anymore because it used to work.
Right. Yeah. That's yes.
And healthy with silver and ionic silver. I used to take ionic silver and all these other.
Yes. If you did vegetable smoothies, kept it some part of your diet a little bit, if you were just super natural and mindful and stayed away from prescription pills, you didn't have to do anything else for a long time. But now, not just our kids are fat, but we know from us, the people who know all the alternative stuff, that have been doing our protocols for a long time, and we've seen that there was something that needed to be made. And the thing is, they got these nanometer sized toxins so small they go way past the blood brain. They go inside the cell. They're intracellular.
So they
And
used
so
to
the very
be able to get those into our cells.
not even up to like 2000 they weren't able to.
Then all of a sudden,
This whole nano, when they started making the herbicides, pesticides nano and everything nano, all they were doing was taking a nano emulsifier or an ultrasonicating homogenizer or dissolving it down with some type of acid, something that is micronized or micro, or something that is microscopic. One particle by itself is microscopic, very small. That's ultra micronized. You have stuff in your pantry right now that's ultra micronized. Okay, take that and got to get it down 10,000 times to the nano without, and being able to monitor it, check it. So it became the thing about 2000. The problem is now, instead of our bodies dealing with a toxic kind of ocean, it wasn't just the ocean, it was everything. All the cells in the ocean were now toxic, and it was a whole, and that's why we got to where we at now. Now our bodies can't keep up from day one. And so it was, I loved, I've spent my whole life getting laughed at. I've gone into attorneys' offices trying to do non-for-profit stuff for, having great ideas on how we could, feed hungry people and I've done my whole life. I've searched. And so I took what was a great formula before, and I handed it over to Kansas State University Nano Labs after I had a divine call with a guy who owned a nano lab for 25 years, Forest Biotech. And imagine this. People want to hear. This was a part of Rhea's story at first when she talked about this guy named Michael Coe. Okay, let me tell you about Michael Coe's, who was the chief scientific officer for Kansas State University, and he is the founder of Forest Biotech Nano Labs with $30 million in equipment. He's been in it for 25 years. His life's work was thinking that with the mRNA delivery system they've been working on for decades, that it was supposed to be only used to make synthetic herbicides and pesticides more biodegradable to the environment.
So
and the reason why it does work to that degree is because they only test down the micrometer level, and they were making the things down to the nano level. So just like with organic, it's organic produce. No, people, they're dealing with the highest level nano pesticides that can't be measured by the old equipment. Just like when they're trying to talk about what Masterpiece is and they're claiming to have it on a video, they're using a microscope. It goes down to the micrometer level, which is the size of a blood cell. And that's why those microscopes are meant to do live blood analysis and stuff. 99% of Masterpiece, which I can prove this scientifically 5 different ways with sizing it on high resolution transmission electron microscope. We have Nanosite, which is a very expensive device that does all the sizes of it. And 99% of our formula is 50 nanometers and smaller, which is, again, thousands and thousands and thousands of times smaller than what those type of microscopes, which are good quality ones, but they're not nanoscopes. That is a electron microscope.
She's saying they can see it and they really
and that wouldn't even be science methodology. That is what it looks like when someone's trying to do a hit piece. That is not what it looks like we analyze using direct energy X-ray spectroscopy. I without me naming companies' products, because I deal with people who are trying to make good things, like with humic and fulvic acid and stuff. And we do their analyzing for them and whatnot. If there's a problem in it at all, if I thought there was, I would go to them, talk to them.
Well, exactly.
I wouldn't all of a sudden have turned to a video. She was taking a few videos. One was from Dr. Anna Mahalcia, and she was talking about something else on the video, and Rhea did a voice recorder using her old video and talking like it was zeolite and microcrystals and stuff. And so, and at first, Rhea said she had 40 people in a study. The reason why she came up with that 40 number is because she had 40 people who bought Masterpiece through us. So that's how many people she's seen on her back end board. And what's funny is 26 of them had already rebought. By the time she started going on her tirade, 26 of them had already rebought. And she was claiming people were getting put in the hospital.
Do you think she was paid to go after you from the deep state, or do you think?
Well, no, I don't know. I don't want to jump to assumptions because I don't, I try to stay logical, practical, reasonable, what I can prove.
I'm going to tell you what's interesting. Desi had communicated with some people on her page and talked about, I can't remember. I can't remember if she was talking specifically about Masterpiece or zeolite or whatever. And people asked her for information, and she said, direct message me. And they direct messaged her. And so Desi had all of this list of people coming from Rhea's page who were asking for information. Yeah. And about 2 hours later, they were all gone. So is Rhea working with Facebook to go in and remove people out of people's messenger? I mean,
her paid subscribers, she pays for her subscribers. I know that her 190,000 people, and barely they got 5 or 10 people that respond. She pays. You can do that whenever. We didn't spend $1 on any kind of marketing. We spent all of our money doing studies. But in the last 3 or 4 months, now that we're trying to get this out to the world, it's a very important thing for everybody to get depoisoned, as these, I know the toxin levels in the land, air, the soil sample tests on organic farm fields. I have water table tests. The pollution levels that are inside of these bodies when we're testing for them, the glyphosate, everything, neurotoxins, gender dysphoria, weird stuff like atrazine, we've tested for it, and everybody's levels, whether you've been jabbed or not, are high. And Masterpiece is the cleanest mineral water on earth. It is the highest sourced sea mineral water. It is the same source that a sea of redox molecules uses. Okay. We use the same exact source, a very high-end mineral water, the nicest of the nice. We didn't care about the cost. We cared about the quality. And then we take the highest source, clinoptilite, put it down, and we have a very special structuring technique that Dr. Robert Young has, only he knows how to do with, there's a few other guys, and it's all about a piezoelectric way of naturally structuring stuff. And we do it 4 times. And what ends up happening is you just have a ton of negative magnets that don't do any harm inside of the body, and they grab the toxins from the deepest levels, and then they're since they're magnetically bound to them, escort them right out. And this has been a very open discussion. We are going to get attacked by everybody. We've had the FDA on us twice. Right. We had the FDA. Dr. Tom Cowan gets the same exact C plasma that we were getting. He's been getting it for years. And we ordered 3 pallets. We ordered 1 pallet of it. We did our study on graphene oxide and all that, and we came out in the open with it, and we said, we have tested human beings. We are publishing on it. We have published the results. We have, the first study, we used some micronized zeolite with some of the people. We were trying to figure out what works and what didn't work for people. We wanted to find a protocol. We weren't just testing Masterpiece. We were trying to do what no one else had done before and get a bunch of answers with a small test, because it took the whole thing for us to pull it off. What we have dealt with is they took, when we did that study, PayPal and Stripe in 2 weeks held $70,000 together, wow. 40 cents. They did it within an hour of each other. We got the emails the same hour, basically. And then we had the FDA seize $70,000 of the cleanest ocean, where the sea turtles that live to be 300 years and migrate to every year, the place where they migrate, they take that and then they cold nanofilter that. It's the most beautiful stuff ever. And the FDA called it a drug. Not only did they keep our stuff and call it a drug, they then let Dr. Tom Cowens in, who had 4 pallets coming in right behind us. And so, but he's not making Masterpiece with his. And the fact of the matter is,
Oh,
if we were going to have a discussion about why people are mineral deficient in the world, it has everything to do with heavy metals. Minerals have a very, very, very weak positive magnetic charge. So they do stick to things like it's a perfect system of electromagnetism in your body. Okay. So unfortunately, your body starts using these stronger, positively charged heavy metals in place. And since those are stuck there, your body can't mineral uptake. You can't take up minerals
oh,
because it's already stuck there. So when the masterpiece comes in, and it is the healthiest minerals, the most bioavailable, they're all sub picometer range, people. What that means is, if you think nano is small because it's 10,000 times smaller than microscopic and a red blood cell and all that, you're talking about another 1,000 times smaller than that plus some. You're
wow.
talking about I'm sorry, 20,000, not 10, not 10,000. You're talking 20,000. You're talking about very minerals that are ions. And, um, you know, when you grab out those toxins and then they're replaced with the healthiest minerals, all of a sudden the body's normal functions start operating better. We see the levels go down. When we taste the hair, which we have a study right now. Um, you know, I believe it's very important, with our health being our wealth and our wealth being our health, that we understand what our mineral composition is, what our heavy metal load is, how our body's adrenal functions, digestive functions are working, stress functions, which is your sodium and potassium levels, is what you would see on a hair test or the gold standard hair test.
Mhm.
So what we did with Masterpiece is that if someone hasn't taken Masterpiece before, we allow them to be in our study that we have going on right now. That in
Mhm.
our first month of starting it, we have over 170 people today, people like you, me, normal people in 22 countries, and we've pulled it off in 5 or 6 weeks of having it going. It's only been, well, no, it's probably been going about 7 weeks now. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, but that you're talking about, and the reason is because hair tests, which are not very cheap, we
Right.
give you a before hair test, we give you 3 bottles of Masterpiece, and then we give you an after hair test.
Wow.
We want to use your results so that we can show people how their bodies are working better. You get a complete detailed summary, allowing you the ability to become your own doctor, so you can know if you should be taking a magnesium supplement or not. You may need to. You may not realize, like I didn't know my 4-year-old son needed zinc. I would have never thought. And I'm not a supplement even minded type of person,
Mhm.
because everybody hates me to talk about this stuff. Because, if I tell people the truth, you're made of millions of billions of molecules that are inside of trillions of cells, and you're 99.9% water and minerals. So if you think that you need to supplement your body with something, you should probably supplement with it with what you are, which is minerals and water, because your body, with enough sunlight, sodium, and water, can make any mineral, any vitamin, and it's very easy, proven fact. That's how we heal, and that's why we change ourselves. It doesn't mean you wouldn't want to supplement with something, but the hair test proves exactly what you should and should not, because I think we can all agree when it comes to medicine and our health and choices, a
Mhm.
lot of the times less is more,
Okay,
you know.
so let's just circle back to people who aren't aware.
Oh,
Caroline Mansfield had done some um, dark field microscopy for graphene oxide and found all this stuff in people. And you all did a test with, at that point, there were 3 subjects.
mhm.
And they in 30 days or 35 days, they were 90% of the graphene oxide and nanotech from the jab had been removed. Is that correct?
Yes, one of the 3 patients, yes. And the reason why Rhea actually started on this whole tirade is that Carolyn Mansfield was showing up. Rhea was setting patients from her email list. People would say, I've been getting jabbed, I'm hurt, I want to. She would rent a spot at a medical, not a hospital or whatever, but she would rent a room out of a doctor's office for a day. She would schedule all these people in, and she would have Carolyn there doing the live blood analysis, because Rhea has no training in microscopy. Everything she's telling people is a fraud. It's just what people are saying. She's calling her a
Right.
doctor now and all this ridiculous crap. It's so many lies. The only thing I can say about her that she's consistent about is how much she lies. She lies about it all. And she really so um she she found out the lab, which was IGL Labs in Germany, and she found out that they could test for graphene oxide and all that while Carolyn and them were talking. Rhea
Caroline,
did.
it's not a
No,
Rhea.
Rhea did.
Okay.
Rhea told Carolyn, and that's when Carolyn, because she's a real humanitarian, she had watched all these, any device, they were looking at ozoning the blood, they were looking at humic and fulvic, EDTA, they were looking at intravenous EDTA, they were looking at all options to see what is going to take care of this jab. It was supposed to be a COVID vaccine injury clinic. That's what Rhea professes to have run.
Right.
Okay. But the truth is, she would rent a room, and she only did it like 3 or 4 times. And she had Carolyn come there. And when she had somehow found out about this lab, Carolyn called me and she said, Matt, out of all the things that we're using in there, because they were using Masterpiece, she goes, by far the one thing I know is working is Masterpiece. She goes, I know a lab that tests for graphene oxide. And Carolyn says, do you want to do a study with me? But you got to keep my name out of it because there's so much heat on the graphene oxide. And I said, well, heck yeah, let's go. And so my company was 2 months old at the time. We put $10,000, which is all we had, into it down. And we didn't know if there was even graphene oxide. There was so much conspiracy theory if graphene oxide even existed. There was so many stuff out there. And since no one had ever done this testing, we didn't know what we were going to get back. And the very first time we got the results back, and you're talking about sending out the labs, having a phlebotomist take the blood, that same day air it, because it has to be to the lab in Germany from the United Kingdom. It's going from one country to another. They got to get it there, and they got to get it, and they got to analyze it within 48 hours. So you're talking like $700-800 a whack for just the testings. So when it came back, 2 of the people had extremely high graphene oxide levels, almost as high as what the machine stops out at, which was 600, and they were at like 509 and 510. The other person had like a 250. But we only tested on that first go round for 5 things: hydrogel, polyethylene glycol, and graphene oxide, because that was the main stuff in the mRNA stuff that everybody was talking about. And so they put them on Masterpiece. And yes, one of the women, she went down from a 509 or a 510 down to 55. And what they're testing is the most critical, important part of the body. The one part of the body, the last part of the body that the body will give up at, it will hold its blood pH to the very end, because if it leaves 7.365, it means you're in acidosis or hyperalkalosis, very, very extreme things that always lead to death if it's out of the ordinary. Right. And what we found is, sorry, very excited about this kind of stuff, actually. When you test the intracellular levels of the blood, that is the most critical part of the body. It's not just the blood, it's the castle in the blood. It's inside the cells in the bloodstream. So it's intracellular electrical capacity tests. There was only one lab in the world doing it. We had this say the lab for months. I had all kinds of practitioners and stuff asking me, tell me the lab. And I said, I can't wait to tell you the lab, but we have to get this testing done, because I know as soon as this goes gangbusters everywhere, I know they're going to get shut down. I know they're going to have heat. And so in Dr. Robert Young, we were going to publish on our initial pilot study. That was our first pilot study. The second that we published on it, it said the lab name, and within 2 weeks, the founder and the operation managers to the only testing for intracellular electrical capacity test in the world was found dead in his home.
I had listened to Sarah Westall's interview with you 5 months ago and heard her say that had just happened. You tried to buy the lab and they wouldn't sell to you. Correct?
I paid private investigators to go up there to him quietly and offer him $20,000. I sold, because we were 1.5 weeks away from getting the final results, which we knew were going to be spectacular, because we'd already tested on the initial pilot study. We test at the beginning, we test at 35 days, and then we tested at 90 days. Well, by the time we're testing at 90 days, we were ordering 27 different things. We were ordering fluoride, chlorine, and blah. So we didn't have beginning numbers on those, but we had these huge high beginning numbers of this other stuff, graphene and all that, and those had all tracked down like perfectly, and all these numbers were there too. So we knew we were going to come back with a test and we were going to show high numbers, which we did. All 24 people had super high numbers of everything. Everybody's toxic, everybody's poisoned. And then we put them on Masterpiece, and we have the gentleman died. And so we didn't get the final results for the intracellular part of the study, but that wasn't all we were doing. We were doing urine testing for heavy metals, all of them, like 19 of them. And we were also doing it for the hair, the gold standard of the hair. So we still got a ton of publishable, amazing information that we use.
Results except for that last piece.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And what were the results?
We have it in, if anybody would look, if you are a geek like me and you would like to see real science backed data information, go to Dr. like a doctor, drrobertyoung.com. drrobertyoung.com. That should be your Science Truth Depot library anyways, folks. Why? That thing has been completely secured. That has published real information. That is Dr. Robert Young, one of our greatest scientists of our time, certainly our most published and peer-reviewed scientist of our time. He's certainly the most targeted. He's in prison right now. They're trying to give him life or trying to tell people how to change and save their lives. It's a long story and it's a terrible thing. But if you go to the search...
Prison? Because
yes.
They tried to imprison him before.
Yes, he's been in there now 3 times, and he's been targeted and highly persecuted for 3 decades because he has the information that's a threat. You know, when you have the real truth and you have the real biology, which he calls the new biology there, and it actually shows our beautiful bodies, how they actually transform, and he shows it underneath where it's undeniable. You know, they don't want you to know how beautiful and great your body works. So, but if you go there and you search Masterpiece, just type into the search bar Masterpiece, and yep, and it will take you to all types of toxicological reports, human, clinical, randomized, non-randomized, placebo-controlled, actual studies done by us, real people that are doing videos at nighttime with their kid, that are here to help humanity. And yeah, we have all types of anything you could ever want to know about the results, findings.
So do we just click on these, or?
Yeah, in any one of them. There's one that we did on CBD and Masterpiece.
It tells you.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get this link to people.
Yeah. So absolutely, we have a huge transhumanism worry, to some degree, and we know that the main components of that is graphene oxide and what they would call lanthanides. Lanthanides are same types of metals that are actually in our regular computers, right? So they're actually trying to inject a computer system into us that assembles itself inside of us for whatever reason. And we have, so this is our newest study that we are filming this week. So tell me what you think of this. A lot of people are familiar with the Blue Truth documentary, and what that Blue Truth documentary showed is that our human bodies are emitting a MAC address, just like a computer gives a MAC address.
So you have that. Is that on here?
Yes.
Now, or you're going to add it?
No, it's not. The MAC address is not up there yet because it's not completed yet. These are actual studies and things that we've completed and done the real testing on or whatnot. There's so many different.
I saw that in Spanish. There was some doctors.
Yeah, you can change.
Or something that were.
Yes. Yeah. That's Pedro Chavez, and we worked with him hand in hand before we got ready to do what we did, which was do the same exact system of how to look for a Bluetooth signal. And so he went out in the middle of the field where there was no other signals. And as people would come in, they would register them if they had an unknown MAC address. And so they were seeing a lot of people emit MAC addresses. The funny thing on that documentary that nobody's seen in the world but Carolyn Mansfield is towards the end of it, as they're having different people that have been coming up emitting MAC addresses, they had a woman who had, I believe, taken the jab or been PCR'd, because what they were showing was everybody that had been PCR'd or jabbed was showing a MAC address at that time. And this woman had gotten PCR'd or jabbed, and she wasn't emitting a MAC address. And it was real fast in the video, and you would have missed it if Carolyn didn't tell me the timestamp and I went back to it. But this woman, that she was, yeah, and I take zeolites. So she said she was taking zeolites in there, and they didn't catch it. They didn't catch it, everybody. Call me on it, because I'm telling you, everybody, it's right there in the Blue Truth documentary towards the end. Yes, it's a woman.
This website that where I'm at?
What's that?
Is it on Dr. Robert Young's
website? No, it's not, unfortunately. Not that. That's the Blue Truth documentary. But what we're doing is called the Blue Proof documentary. And so we're going to prove that, yes, unfortunately, most of us, 90% of the people, if you're not taking Masterpiece right now, from what we see, you got about a 90% chance that you emit a MAC address that you can easily see at what's called a BLE, Boy Larry Echo BLE scanner app. You can download it on your phone, get the proximity, get the upgraded part, and you will see that everybody is emitting MAC addresses in our crazy, weird sci-fi world. What is
that documentary called? Blue
Truth.
Blue Truth.
Blue Truth. BLU, and I don't think it's any Blue Truth. Yeah, because it's supposed to be like Bluetooth on. So,
there it is.
Now, yes. So what we're doing is we're kind of doing we're doing the Blue Truth too, but we're calling it Blue Proof. Right. And so we have a world-class documentary crew videoing it. Carolyn Mansfield is doing the exact type of system and bringing people into the field. Everybody that emits a MAC address, which will be most of them, and we're going to actually let everybody know, okay, we brought out, for example, 40 people and 37 of them had a MAC address. We're going to have that number, which will be nice to be able to say. But once we start them on the study, if they emit a MAC address, we're going to give them Masterpiece right then, have them sign a disclaimer. And then every single month we bring them back out into the field and we see how long it takes before they're not emitting a MAC address anymore, because this is what we found. Carolyn Mansfield.
This is a documentary I just put in the comment.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So, we are the only place in the world that has tested, tried, challenged their product in third-party lab testing. And we have seen, yes, graphene oxide levels in people are real. Yes, they're high. And yes, Masterpiece gets them way down. And so at least out of the intracellular levels of the blood, which, by the way, is the most important part, but there's no other place in the world that tests any other part. And we've done the work no one else did. Now,
let me ask you about this one video that I found that Dr. Robert Young had done. What does it mean? Like when I was looking for information, tell me what this means.
His son recorded that for him.
I'd like to introduce you to my light meter that I'll be using to carry out Will It Light. And we'll be testing a product called Masterpiece.
That's one of the most beautiful, kind, gentle men in the world.
And then I will be using the probes.
That is one of our greatest humanitarians right now.
Solution of Masterpiece Zeolite Z to see if it conducts electricity and lights
our world's
up
a better
the
place
bulb.
because of his science.
In comparison, I will take some water at a pH of 7. I will pour that into the glass and I will test it to see if it will light up the light. So let's go ahead and start the experiment. I'm going to go ahead and pour the water, and I will take a brand new bottle of Masterpiece and I will go ahead and pour that in. And now we will test. I'm putting the 2 probes into the water.
Can you hear me okay?
You see a little of the light come on.
So that's because it's barely alkaline. So it has a little bit of sodium and minerals, which is electrical donation, which is millivolts. This is a hyperalkalized, and hyper-electricized nanocolloidal formula. And so what it means is it has a ton of electrons, or what you would call electron potential, to donate. And what it does is that's energy. When your body's converting sunlight and stuff into energy, you're talking about electrons. You're talking about negative millivolts. And so if something is acidic, which usually means it has extra, it's going to steal your energy or steal your electrons. But if you're taking in something that's alkalized or hyper-alkalized like this, you're talking about something that has a lot of electrical charge, a lot of electron potential. So
Yeah,
yes, it's going to light up the bulb.
good.
It almost busts that bulb. But what it does to your body is it energizes your cells at a cellular, truly at a cellular level. It couldn't go any bigger than it's cellular, and that's as small as we can go, and to the molecular level. You're talking about things, the most highest quality, healthiest thing ever created, and it's at such a small charge. Yes, when he did that, they drove to a place and they set up in like an hour and a half when they did that video. And what it shows is how much it's going to give you energy. It's going to help pH your body and alkalize your body, which is very important. And at the same time, it's removing the toxins. So it's real important whenever we're looking at any type of all-natural formula or really anything in our life. We have to start with this first pretense, right? Which is we want to do no harm. So if a formula, for instance, if this formula was acidic like it was at the very, very beginning, then yes, it would be pulling out toxins, which is incredible, and it would be doing a great job of that, but at the expense of actually taking a little bit of your energy too.
Stuff too. Yeah.
Yes. And so what we find with Masterpiece is the alkaline of it is about 8.365, which is identical to your interstitial fluid or your extra. And what we see is over time, after it's made, after about 3 months, it raises it to about 9.15.
Wow.
And we have, if you look at,
is the first formula he's got, or this is the Masterpiece?
No, that's the second formula for sure. We haven't had the first formula for over a year.
When you put 5 drops of Masterpiece under the tongue,
so that's
it will go
Masterpiece
into
lit it up
body
so much
fluids.
more
Difference.
than the first one.
When you put 5 drops,
he's putting those probes into the water, and all he's doing is putting those probes, and so you see all that all those electrons going to feed that light bulb.
Test.
So
putting the
that
lighting
up
into the
means
water.
That's giving your body energy, and it's weak.
Yep. Yeah.
You can see a little of the light come on. So there is some Masterpiece under
really
the tongue.
light up. Wow. Well, so for those of you who aren't familiar with my husband's story, is he's had AFib for 15 years, 15 or 20 years. He would get an episode every 6 months. But he has a doctor that never pushed to get on, didn't believe really in blood thinners or anything. So he gave him like a pill in a bottle. So basically, whenever he would get an AFib episode, he would take this pill, and about 4 hours later, his heart would go back in rhythm. He would have episodes sometimes. There was a couple of times where it was so bad he had to have his heart shocked. Over those 15 years period. He's had a couple of times that they had to actually shock his heart to bring the heart rate down. Well, so for about the last 10 years, he's just, or 8 years, he's just survived with that pill in a bottle, and anytime he'd get it. But it started to get to where he was getting it a lot. Like he drank a cold Topo Chico, he went in AFib. He went and walked, and when he got back, he went in AFib. He had a sip of whiskey and he went in AFib. He was getting it about 3 times a month, and he never wanted to get in that procedure that they do, the ablation, because, he's always been afraid of going under and stuff. So, but he was getting to the point that he was starting to look at these other procedures and getting close to like, I can't live like this. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And, and he was having to keep refilling this pill in a bottle, whatever thing. And he hated to do that. And then we started the Masterpiece March of last year. And I can't remember if he had one more episode after he started. We'd already been on the Nanosoma for a while, but I can't remember if it was, if maybe he had one episode, but that was it. He hasn't had another episode in almost a year. I
actually told Dr. Robert Young, your husband's story, because when he sent me that message, so this is what I live for. This is the whole thing that gets me and my whole team giddy. We got 3 testimonial pages. So whenever anybody sends us a text message or anything, I tell people all the time, we got over 5,000 testimonials in 18 months. I guess it's not like testimonials where people because a lot of times we're just trapping comments, but it's when people are experiencing better lives, it's profound. And so when your husband left me that message, I told Robert Young that, and actually from jail, Robert Young cried to that. And he said, and there was another guy that had his eyesight was getting a lot better. And Robert has a real good friend who left his eyesight, and he said, you got to get him on Masterpiece, beg him to tell him to take it. And, we're really talking about, if we got to all understand this, people. You're not sick. You've been poisoned. Okay. So if you got problems with your eyes aren't wrong genetic, but they're poisoned. Okay. It's an accumulation of poisons. Your heart's not messed up. It's poisoned. Your kid's not autistic. He's poisoned. Your freaking mom in the nursing home is not freaking lost her mind. She's been poisoned too much. And it's called chemical body burden. Get that? Everybody just put chemical body burden. Some people's bodies, and we don't know how much it varies or not, but some people can't take much, and coming out of the womb, they're already autistic. Even nowadays, in today's extra toxic generational, everything else that goes into it, a child in the olden days, there was no way a child was going to be autistic unless they were vaccinated. Now, in today's world, it happens because the toxins are so much, even in the womb, because we see where it used to be when my parents were young, what, one in a million, 1 in 500,000 kids were autistic. Now it's 1 in 35. Nobody looks around. We got studies with 59,000 kids that RFK Jr.'s Children's Health Defense did, but got swept underneath the rug, that I got from 2004. And it shows if your kid's been vaccinated or not, the chances he has any type of disease, hepatitis, autism, it was a 42-page report. And it's these poisons. You're not sick. You've been poisoned. And everybody, we got to start realizing, if you want to be childlike, then get your poisons in your body down to the level they were as a child. You'll connect with people. You'll start looking in their eyes when you're talking to them, and you'll just be there with them.
Understand more. In the Masterpiece formulation, you've got, this, I really want to understand this stuff. And my audience is pretty familiar with, scalar waves and all that kind of resonance and all that stuff, because there's another product that actually protects against EMFs and stuff. I have the formulators on a lot, and we always talk about the programming and the scalar waves and your intention when you actually program something, because everything's programmed in. So when people do stuff that is that says it protects you, you always have to look at who's really programming it, because any areas can be programmed in as well.
It's the intentions behind everything. I tell I pick out my team. I pick out everything I do. Intention is everything. And I'll tell you, I knew something was missing. I was looking for direction to try to do something I hadn't done before. I had already had my life. I had already moved my family to the middle of nowhere, and we were very happy growing our own little food, and I didn't have to worry about everybody else's problems. But I knew that I knew I wasn't going to be able to get old enough to protect my little girl forever. And so I thought, I just couldn't get out of the obsession. And the formulators that came into this, one guy had his whole life's work turned on humanity, and he couldn't even deal and live with himself anymore. And so when I called him out of the blue, the fact he got to help make something that was going to take out the very poisons and toxins that they were using on us, it took this man who was drinking alcohol starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it sobered him up because he had something to go on. And then when I tried to pay him, and I tried to say, hey, Michael, this thing's doing great, you're kind of to blame. He sits there, and I said, hey, can I talk to you about like how I can pay you? Like, come on. And he said, no. He goes, I'll tell you how you pay me back. He goes, I read the testimonials page. He goes, and that's paying me back right there. And so Dr. Robert Young came in. Dr. Robert Young never took a penny. He's done countless videos. He did he showed me how to do the formulation better than what Michael know how to do, because Dr. Robert Young is that good. He is the master expert nanocolloidal formulator of our time. Hundreds of these good top-notch nano products are from Robert Young's formulations. And he came in and did that just for us. But
So
it's very, go ahead, sorry.
Explain, I want you to explain the programming, the scalar, the biophotonics terahertz mechanism and scalar. What is this? And is
so
programmed into the marine plasma?
Okay. So those are labels that need to be updated. Okay. At the beginning, we would shrink wrap these seals with a terahertz wand, that people were using.
Oh, right.
And so that was the terahertz. That's because we were beaming it on there. We were getting, we were using FLFE, Focus Life Force Energy, which is kind of a scalar type of prescription. If you go to flfe.net, and we were doing the energy print to the labels. And so all the people that white label with us and everything, I would just send a copy of their label up to FLFE, and then they would beam it from there. Now,
so then that's
what we found,
those vibrational energies are going into the bottle, right?
Yes. And, some of this stuff, when you talk about scalar and sophagia, and even though we got a pretty good amount of idea about how it works, or at least we got strong beliefs or assumptions on it, a lot of it is not quantifiably provable. And so we have to base a lot of it upon experience,
right?
And what we intuitively can tap into. And, when we start getting into this invisible world, we just, they have kept that hidden from us.
Yep.
That type of technology and understanding, because it's the most powerful, and consciousness is everything. I will say, it's funny, when we would make Masterpiece, we would even put stickers on the outside of the vats that said love and stuff. Because why? Because everything matters, right? Everything matters. And what's funny,
who proved all that?
Yes. And so, do you know Veda Austin out in New Zealand that does crystallography?
Yeah.
And so, it's a really cool thing. It's Veda, VEDA, Veda Austin, done amazing work. And everybody's into her stuff. They call it crystallography. But what you basically do is you can look at you can take something and you begin to freeze it, and it will make a replicated pattern depending on the intention, the belief, what it is. And so we did crystallography on Masterpiece, and it comes up love and ascension and those things. And you, every time you make Masterpiece with crystallography, that's what it pops up for the people.
Is that what you're doing? So you're doing that? You're doing this?
Well, no, we've tested. That's one of the tests. I mean, any way we can test, it's, we want to evaluate it, because we want to make sure, there's no way that we can put a better clinoptilolite in there. We can't get it down to a better, smaller, more effective size range. We can't get any higher quality sea mineral plasma. And we don't hold back in the structuring process, which is what really makes it. And to see, look, if you don't change your lifestyle habits, then you are basically a placebo. And we have measured placebos. Placebos don't get any changes. That's why I love placebo-controlled tests, because if someone just kind of thinks they make little changes and they don't, you'll see it if you actually test their levels of stuff and their heavy metal loads and how they're releasing minerals. People taking Masterpiece, okay, they start holding in their minerals better. They start releasing tons of aluminum. We've measured the aluminum in urine, blood, and hair. And what we really get out the best, people, is graphene oxide and aluminum. And guess what? There's a ton of aluminum. Organic farm fields, I got hundreds of tests from the largest organic farm field supplier in the United States. He supplies for 4,500 organic farm fields. Most of them are virgin for a long time from herbicides or pesticides. Most of them are Amish or Mennonite land that have never had chemicals on it, and they are dumping so much aluminum that when they test their soils are coming back 1,000 to 2,500 pounds per acre. You heard that right, folks. 1,000 to 2,500 pounds of aluminum done by Logan's Lab, the best lab doing it for proactive agriculture, who's been doing it for over 5 decades. And what they're dumping, aluminum is a big time neurotoxin no in every way. What do we get out like a champ? We had a lady on our last study. She started off with a level of aluminum, which is a very high number. It was much higher than everybody else, of 41. And in 120 days was down to 1.
Wow.
So it's real simple. Whatever you do in your life, whatever exercise, whatever things that bring you peace in your health, because isn't that what is key for all of us? I would say if you knew that something in clinical trials done the right way, out in the open, right tests, done by Carolyn Mansfield, Dr. Robert Young, and me, I mean, okay, and we're showing like 60 to 80% of the levels, we're mobilizing. When you're talking about your blood levels, we get it down 75%, 80%. So ask yourself this. If you had 70 or 80% less cesium-137, plutonium, fluoride, chlorine, glyphosate, things like all your microplastics, hardcore, the worst toxins that was on the list, we tested for them.
So it's removing
across the board, all of it. Yes. There's only two. I'm sorry, all of it, but 2 things. There's 2 things we can't figure it out. Maybe we haven't studied long enough. Maybe maybe our bodies somehow are picking up other things before it's getting to. I don't know. I'm making pure assumptions, but we don't get out tin or nickel.
Oh.
I don't know. We have no idea why. We've tested it with urine and hair, and we're not touching it. I don't know. We're getting the heck out of lead, mercury, arsenic, aluminum. Those are our big ones. Barium, cadmium.
And Matt, how quickly is it coming down?
I would definitely say that's the most surprising news. If someone wanted to go to our website, we have a tab page that says hair test. If you go to masterpiecebyhcs.com, and you're doing this to see the research, because anybody through this show, they need to, and so I don't know if you're pulling it up or not, but I can't see it quite yet. Okay. And so if you go to the hair test page at the top.
Yeah. And
so what we are looking at there is you can opt in. You can get a single hair test if you just want to see where you're at right now. If you've been taking Masterpiece, you can't opt into the study. But if someone wanted to opt into the study, they get a before and after hair test and 3 bottles of Masterpiece for only $369. It is like a $600 value. Right. But if you scroll down barely, you'll be able to see the longest running hair. That's right there. Will Houghton. He's been a hair tissue analysis longer than anybody in Europe, over 15 years of looking at charts every day, charts and graphs. He provides to you a summary, whether you just get the single hair test or whether you get the double. And he has a video testimonial in there, because what he tells you is this. He's seen people infrared sauna. He's seen every type of high-end detox chelation protocol and product you can imagine. That man right there is 51 years old, just so that you know. He knows health. He's 51. Look at him. Okay. So he's 51. He's called the Mineral Man. He's real big about it's a gold standard of hair testing. And what he says in that video right there, it was actually done for RFK Jr. And he basically is saying, hey, I'm getting results back from the study because we were trying to get it up to these people that were claiming to care about healthcare. And so we were trying to alert them about these tests, because I didn't know if we were going to be taken out. I didn't know what was going on. FTC came after us. FDA's come after us. We're on our second go around with them. Health Canada shut us down. And Will says right there at the top of that screen, Will Houghton, he explains how he's never seen anything come anywhere near what we're doing. He said he had a lady who was releasing. He says in that video that takes about a minute and a half long. I don't know. Maybe you can play it if you like.
Okay,
It's
sure.
only a minute. Yeah, it's only a little over a minute.
Hi there, my name is Will Houghton. I'm one of the longest serving hair mineral analysis practitioners in Europe. I've recently been conducting a trial for Matt Hazen and his product, Masterpiece Marine Plasma Nanozeolite. We had 24 trial participants and the trial was 120 days long, so 4 months. I've recently been getting the results back from the clients, and as a practitioner of 15 years who looks at graphs every day, I am astounded by the results. One client yesterday had an increase of 1,200% more aluminum leaving the body.
Wow.
In the space of time, 120 days, I've never seen that with any other protocol. Other trial participants have had very stubborn toxic minerals such as toxic iron, toxic copper and toxic manganese leaving the body very quickly. These stubborn minerals, toxic minerals, take years to leave the body with normal detoxification protocols like sauna. The trial for me as a practitioner is really exciting. I've only got about 40% of the trial participants back, but so far the results are incredibly promising and something I've never seen before as a practitioner.
So quickly.
Yeah. And so, what we do know is no matter who we are, no matter what challenges or lifestyle habits that we have, when we see the levels of aluminum leave the body 1,200% faster, as soon as those are purged out and extracted, then they go down. Then the levels are like, and so you start off at 1 and then it's coming out of you at 11 and then it goes down to basically 0 and you're like, I'm aluminum free. And
so is it important to do it twice a day or once a day? Like if you do it,
I would do less more often. I would do it 3 times. Look, I mean, I live with this stuff. I'll take it 4 times during the show. And so I would say take 5 drops twice a day is fine. That's
Okay.
what the study participants do.
Okay.
But I would take 2 drops 5 times a day because you're taking in toxins. Less is more. Less more often is better than more less often. And, less more often.
Because you're
always being bombarded with it. Yeah.
And there's polluted food. And
yes.
So you have to be on it constantly until we can clean up our food supply.
Well, and people don't win the lottery the day before they get their bottles of Masterpiece. So the way to make the most of it is to take, there's so much clinoptilolite in there, guys. No matter what nanozeolite product that's ever been created out of there, we have a special process. And as far as what I've reverse engineered and tested, we have literally 11 times more clinoptilolite in ours. And so when other companies tell you to take 10 drops,
clinoptilolite is, what is it exactly?
Zeolite. It's clinoptilolite mineral. It is the type of zeolite.
It's
yes.
A type of zeolite.
Yes. With zeolite, all the negative press and fraudulent pseudoscience, everything that they tried to say and reference, yes, they were referencing synthetic zeolite. Okay. Natural zeolite, there's 40 types of natural zeolite. You really only want to take clinoptilolite zeolite, which is what we know for sure is safe. The other ones appear to be safe, but we know clinoptilolite is for sure safe. Now, there's 150 synthetic, man-made, unnatural zeolites that are made in fake autoclave devices that are completely made for industrial strange processes and should never be put inside of a human body because for all types of reasons, and it's very bad for you. So yeah, they wanted to compile in synthetic studies that showed harm into Masterpiece and try to, just say a big broad term. It's kind of like, hold on, you're saying zeolite is kind of like saying vegetable. right? What type of vegetable? What's the process? Is it GMO vegetable or is it a natural vegetable? Hey, it all matters, right? So I mean, what kind of zeolite is it? One of the fake ones or one of the good ones? Is it clinoptilite? Because we know that one's safe, and that's what this one is. No, it had a lot more. We don't want to get back on that, but it had a lot more to do with Rhea wanted to get the notoriety for being the first and only woman or person who had done a test for graphene oxide. And so when Carolyn did it, she had a huge falling out. And really, Rhea's motivation is to destroy Carolyn. She has a whole beef with Carolyn. It's not really, I mean, I'm in it. And Masterpiece is in it because she said she's going to love destroying it. Like she sent me all these places of companies she's destroyed. It's what she does on her channel. It's like, can't people see like these are good companies with shungite and different things that work? And like people don't see the pattern. You know, we come with the science and we come with the results. And anybody that wants to figure out how childlike they can become, how much better you're going to sleep, how more restful, you know, we have people that were blind that are claiming they're seeing again, and the only thing they've been putting in their eyes is Masterpiece. We have autistic children.
Wait. You can put Masterpiece in your eyes?
Of course. It is basically Masterpiece, your body fluids. If you were going to get okay, you have isotonic fluids, hypertonic fluids, and hypo. Okay, isotonic means it has the right amount of mineral composition compared to water. It's the same as you. It's ISO. Okay. You could use this stuff for blood. I'm not telling anybody. I'm not a medical thing. Big disclaimer. But this is identical to what you would want to do a blood transfusion with.
Blood plasma.
It's isotonic C plasma.
And it was used in after World War II. Is what
with all the dead soul. Yeah, because there's not enough blood. So isotonic, absolutely. So you're dealing with the highest sourced.
Or put one drop in each eye, and that improves your eyesight.
Yeah, it has a lot of sodium in it, so it's going to sting for a second. But yeah, your eyes are not bad. They've been poisoned. I'll show you. I mean, I'm telling you, it's incredible. And
you're talking people that wear glasses.
We have a video testimonial that the guy, his name is Keith Wilkins, just put up on our site. He's 73 years old. If you go to the testimonials page, not on our website, on our Facebook testimonials, page. He's an old gentleman. He did a video testimonial and he says, I have my glasses going back for years. He goes, I'm picking up classes. I'm picking up my last years. I'm picking up my 4 years ago. I'm picking up my 7. You know, he's talking about how his vision keeps on correcting itself.
Wow.
Hey, there is chemical poisoning and then there is radiation poisoning.
Okay. So where are your testimonials?
Oh, no, that you're on my personal Facebook. I would go to Human Consciousness Support. Our Masterpiece testimonials, the group page. Sorry.
Hang on. Is that it?
Nope. Doesn't look like it.
So go to Human Consciousness.
Yeah, go to Human Consciousness Support testimonials.
Just in the search field on Facebook?
Yeah. Yep. For groups, yeah.
Oh, for groups. Yeah. Okay, let me click on groups.
Masterpiece. See the top one right there? Hold on. Next one down is the testimonials. Nope, go back.
Okay.
Hit the testimonials. Yep. Okay, now scroll down. You'll see a guy talking, an older guy. Keep going. Yeah, you'll see it. It'll be pretty clear when you. I don't know how much I think when testimonials come in, they just throw them on there. I'm not sure. I have no idea, to be honest. But here, okay, keep going down a little bit more, and you'll see the actual video, I believe. A little bit more. There it is. Okay.
Should we play it?
Yeah, sure. Short.
Hello, this is Keith Wilkins, and today this is going to be my first testimonial for Masterpiece. After 6 weeks of incorporating Masterpiece into my routine, I've already begun to experience tangible improvements. What makes this particularly noteworthy is that I am 75 years of age, and coinciding with my licence renewal, I underwent an eye examination. The eye examination revealed that I required a stronger prescription, and as determined on the 23rd of November 2024, eager to explore alternative options, I became a Masterpiece user on November 26, 2024. Merely 17 days later, my Masterpiece order arrived, and I began a recommended dosage of 5 drops under my tongue, morning and night, coupled with 1 drop in each eye and ear at those same intervals. To my astonishment, within a few weeks, I observed a slight blurriness in my vision. In an attempt to counteract this change, I revisited some of my older glasses. Remarkably, the 3-year-old pair proved to be perfectly suitable. And even more unexpectedly, the 13-year-old glasses were also functional for reading. Presently, I find myself increasingly able to read some 12-point font on the computer without glasses. I am optimistic that by the end of the year, my vision will continue to improve to the point where glasses are no longer necessary. Moreover, my partner, who has excellent hearing and who manages the remote control, and is notable that the volume's setting has been reduced from 30 to 24, signifying a marked enhancement in my hearing.
Wow.
I love Masterpiece, and you will too. Thank you for watching.
Wow.
You know, he did that. He did that for free. He did that because Nikki bugged him because he was coming on our holistic health call and he was talking about his changes, you know. So it's kind of cool. That's what we get. That's what amps me up, man. I'm telling you, that's what it's like. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
So,
when you have guys that have AFib attacks for 17 years or whatever, and then they don't have to deal with that, which that's got to be very scary when you get jolted and all that. You know, come on, like, is that, if it's priceless to someone else, shouldn't it be priceless to you? I mean, if we care about each other.
Yeah. And here's the other question. So if let's say there's people that are, because we do have people that are on all kinds of medications, do they have to take the Masterpiece to their doctor to find out?
I mean, no, they can do anything they want with. I mean, they don't have to do anything.
They really don't need it. I mean, basically, it's not going to harm them.
We have done plenty of studies with people. A lot of people are on medication, even if they don't like medication, they may be on 1 or 2 medications and stuff. In fact, that's more than half the people that we've studied. I would just say this: your prescription medication is petroleum-based products, okay? And we've tested those. Those do have positive magnetic charges, and the ingredients in them are 100% synthetic. And they have, obviously, no matter what the newest pill is that you're taking, has a laundry list of side effects. If you want that pill to work, I would not take that at the same time as Masterpiece, because Masterpiece don't like that stuff. Okay, so I wouldn't take, don't take your pills with Masterpiece. You're going to negate your pills.
Just take it at different intervals.
Right, absolutely. You know, and then if you want to show it to your doctor's not is completely taught against a preventative mindset, and that's what this is, a product that is exposing the simple reality that our great creator that made our environment, our ecosystem, our internal ecosystem, everything has its place. You know, in the ecosystem out there, lions, bumblebees, a tree, it all has its rightful harmonic thing, and it all works perfectly together. Now you start putting in these unnatural things inside of us or inside of the environment, now we got problems. So safe to say, get the junk out, then our bodies start going back and start doing all these things that we thought was just what we had to live with. And so, you know, if you've tried it all before and you don't have perfect health, and you haven't tried Masterpiece yet, I'm going to say you got one heck of a chance of having a miracle for you, you know, because with these things that we've all pursued, like every last issue we could, you know, like I've tried everything to try to get rid of this problem. And to be able to come across something that is 10 drops a day, that for countless people gets rid of whatever that thing was, you know, it's not much more than $1 a day, and it was made for all of us, right? So.
Well, exactly. And the way that Martin explained it is that we're all being poisoned, and everybody's going to react. Their body's going to react with a different ailment. You know, so
yes,
somebody else might get, you know, diabetes or whatever, you know, all these other different diseases. And
absolutely.
His manifested as AFib, but everybody has a manifestation of some sort. As you start removing the poisons, then whatever you have that you're reacting to with is going to improve because you're removing the poisons. So now your body can actually start functioning the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let
Absolutely.
me ask one of these questions. So Vicky says, Dana was wondering why some bottles are blue and some are brown. So, so basically, I think it got formulated in a blue bottle for Martin for Life Enthusiasts, but it's the same stuff.
Yeah. Yes, Martin. Yeah, it comes out of the exact same thing in every way. Yeah, from A to Z. Yeah, and yeah, Martin wanted blue bottles, and so Martin gets what Martin wants. So
right. So Martin's on Martin's side, he can put it in a blue bottle. But all right, well, hang tight, Matthew. Okay, thank you guys. Okay. Thanks for being here. It is a phenomenal product, and you know, I'll have Matt on again, and I'll share with you guys what my results have been. But most definitely give it a shot. They don't want it out there, and I think that it's
no, they don't.
I think really and truly, people that are awake and aware are not controllable, and Masterpiece is uncovering the third eye, the pineal gland, the part of us that connects with God, and they don't want that higher consciousness. I think really that's it. I think that's the complete root of it. All right. Good night, everybody. Okay, hang on, Mac.